So picture this. You walk into your classroom tomorrow morning, and who's standing at the front? Not a person, but a robot. Yeah, it sounds like something straight out of a movie, right? But this isn't science fiction anymore. Robots are rolling into schools right now, and they're about to completely change how we think about learning. Let's get into it.
Seriously, could a robot be your next teacher? I know, it's a wild thought, but for a surprising number of students all over the globe, it's not a question for the future, it's their reality today. So we're going to break down how this is all happening, what it actually looks like in a real classroom, and what it means for, the next wave of students.
All right, so this is what we're calling the new robotic classroom, and it really is a revolution in learning. But let's be clear from the get-go, this isn't about robots taking over and replacing human teachers. Nope. It's about giving them and students some seriously powerful new tools. At its heart, this is all about training the next generation of innovators. The whole idea is to get students actually touching and working with the kind of tech that's going to shape their world. It's this huge global movement to build up those all-important STEM skills, science, tech, engineering, and math, starting when kids are super young. And when we say robots, you can't just picture one thing. They come in all shapes and sizes. It's pretty amazing. I mean, look at this. On one side, you've got JD, a little humanoid guy that can walk, bust a move, and even show expressions. Then on the other side, you've got the Nerio one, which is basically a mini version of the robotic arms you'd see on a high-tech factory floor. They look totally different, but both are incredible tools for teaching everything from the very basics of coding to some really advanced automation. Okay, to see how this stuff really works in the real world, let's zoom in on an amazing story out of Nigeria. We're going to spotlight Tulibot, a robot that's not just a machine, but one with a real name and a real mission. This is where it gets personal. So, meet Tulibot. It's basically a key member of the team at the Nigerian Tulip International Colleges, or NTIC. And here's the coolest part. The name, Tulibot, it wasn't dreamed up by some committee. The students actually voted on it. Just that one little thing completely changed the game. It went from being just a piece of tech to being their robot, a real part of the school. And trust me, Tulibot does not sit still. This robot has a packed schedule. Across the NTIC campuses in places like Abuja and Kano, it's right in the middle of everything. We're talking leading morning assemblies and exercises, making the big school announcements, even giving visitors tours of the campus. And when students head to the Innovatix Center, their innovation hub, who's there to help with their coding projects? Yep, Tulibot. So you might be wondering, how does Tulibot stack up against some of the other famous robots out there? Well, you've probably seen Pepper, with that big tablet on its chest, or maybe Now, the little guy that can dance like crazy. They're awesome for sure. But Tulibot's superpower is different. It was literally built and customized for its own school ecosystem that makes it fit in perfectly, in a way that an off-the-shelf robot just can't. Okay, this is absolutely key. The students aren't just watching these robots do cool stuff, they're the ones pulling the strings. So let's pull back the curtain and demystify the tech. You're about to see how easy it is to get started, even if you've never, ever written a single line of code. The secret sauce here is something called block-based programming. Think of it like digital Legos. Instead of having a type-out confusing code where one typo can break everything, students just drag and drop these colorful blocks. One block might say, move arm forward. Another might say, turn head left. You snap them together to build a program. It basically turns coding into a fun puzzle and gets rid of all that scary syntax. This way, kids can focus on the fun part, the creativity and problem solving, which is a huge confidence booster. And believe it or not, it can get even easier than that. Let's go back to that Nerio 1 robotic arm for a second. It has this incredible feature called learning mode. So a student can literally just flip on this mode, grab the robot's arm with their own hands, and move it exactly where they want it to go. They click a button to save that spot, and that's it. Now the robot knows the move. It's like you're teaching it by showing it, not just typing commands. It's so intuitive. All right, so let's zoom out and connect the dots here. We've seen the fun stuff, the hands-on tech. But what does it all lead to? This is about going from a cool classroom project to a serious launchpad for a future career. So what's the big takeaway here? Why does any of this really matter? Well, it's because having a robot like Tulibot in the classroom does way more than just teach a bit of code. It gets students genuinely excited to learn. It lights that spark for careers in engineering and tech way earlier than usual. And most importantly, it teaches them how to solve real-world problems, a skill that's going to be absolutely critical in the world they're growing up in. I love this quote from DJ Suris, the CEO of EasyRobot.
He says the future is limitless because it's theirs, not ours. We have to remember that. And that just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? The whole point of this technology isn't for us to map out the future for them. It's about handing them the toolkit so they can go out and build it for themselves.
And this all leads to one last, really big question to leave you with. As these robots become more and more a part of the classroom, who's in charge of teaching them ethics? I mean, it's one thing to program a robot to pick up a block. It's another thing entirely to program its values. Who gets to decide what's right and wrong for a robot teacher? That right there is probably the next huge conversation we're all going to need to have.